Glory be to God, Mighty God Ministries. This is the health and wellness, and today we're going to be doing apple chips. These are a great thing to do if you like chips. I know me, that's one of the things I love, and I know a lot of people love chips, but the one thing with chips is if you consume a lot of them, obviously like anything else, they're bad for you. And again, because they have a lot of carbs, you can have sugar in them and a ton of salt on them. What you tend to do is, obviously most of us don't go by the bag proportions, right? We eat half a bag or a whole bag, and then that's how it gets you. And again, anything in moderation is fine. So if you already, if you have a normal breakfast, a normal dinner, and then you don't eat dessert, let's say you eat a half a bag of chips, that might be okay, and you might be under calorie count, and that's fine. But I know with me, what I did is I would over consume them. So I had to cut those out. And occasionally I'll still have a couple of them, but I find out that a lot of times when you give that stuff up for a little bit, you'll find out that after you eat it, if you go back to eating it, it actually will make you sick sometimes. It doesn't even have the same taste. It doesn't taste as good as like some of the other food. Again, there's nothing wrong with it occasionally. Chips and dip are good. It was one of my favorite things to eat. And I'll tell you, it was either Takis or Pringles or salt and vinegar chips and all this stuff. But I found there's other things that are healthier. I can eat more of them and they taste just as good, if not better, once you adjust to eating certain foods. So I'm gonna do that. This is pretty basic, nothing fancy here. We're gonna have 4 apples. One thing that did happen is when I first started making them, I didn't have this, which is a mandolin, I guess it's called. It's like a slicer thing. And what it does is it actually will let you cut them to the same levels. When I first started, it was funny because I didn't have that. So I'm just trying to use a knife, and you'll try to cut them up into proportionate sizes, and it will work. So if you don't have this, that's okay. But what happens is when you try to slice them to like a perfect slice, and they need to be thinner, what ends up happening is it doesn't turn out right. You have different sizes, shapes, and it will still work, but you'll just have some that maybe the apples are a little bit softer when you bake them, and then other parts of the apples will be like crispy and crunchy, or they might be overdone. So that's one of the things you do have to remember, but pretty basic. We're not gonna do anything crazy here. I found that if I use a bowl like this, which is just a normal, like a dollar bowl from Walmart or Target, I forget where I got them from, but here's how cheap, that works perfect to catch them in. And I sort of have it down to process now. I used to make it where I would use a plate and then put them on there. They do get on your hands. And then you take this right here, there's like a little handle on it. And again, you could use a knife. If that's all you have is a knife, put this right here. And then the next thing you need is a knife to cut them. A lot of times I just cut them on the countertop because I don't care. I'm probably the one who consumes the most of them. My kids, obviously, they like regular chips. They ain't gonna eat this. But again, it's a healthy snack. It doesn't, it doesn't cost a lot. And it's, again, I could eat all 4 bags of these when they're done, and it's 4 apples. And again, other than like, it's natural sugar, so you're good there. And even if these apples are, I don't know what these are, 60, 100 calories or that. So maybe you got 400, maybe 300, I don't know, maybe 300 calories, compared to a bag of chips. You're gonna eat the whole bag and you're gonna have, 1,000 or 1,500 calories. So the first thing we're gonna do is wash them off. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is not anything special. But just literally take all your apples, wash them off. And then I dry them off, but again, you don't even have to do that. The one other thing is you want to start the oven because you do need to bake these, and it does take a long time. So I bake them on 225. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the oven up on 225 just to get that rolling. And this is a time-consuming thing. So if you're doing this is gonna be something where you're gonna wanna put them in the oven and then just let them go when you have time in your home, because you have to bake them for around, maybe 2.5 hours. You might be able to do some kind of hack or something. I think other people can do this where you can do it less. But I found out that, sometimes they'll burn, and I like to flip them halfway through. So like when I get to like an hour, or an hour and a half even, I'll flip the trays and then let it cook the rest of the way. So it is a time consuming thing. There might be a better way to do this. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a chef or anything. I just know how to do the way I do it. And then obviously you take your apple like this, you line it up on the mandolin, and you figure out, because you need to slice it. So you figure out, you know, where you need to cut it. So like I know right now I'm gonna be at this mark right here. So I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna do my first thing like that. Take this right here, put it on your mandolin or whatever you call this thing. And you take this, which is funny because the first time I used this thing, I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't read the directions. So I'm actually putting it the other way, and then I messed up and I cut the plastic off. So it obviously goes one way for a reason. So it clamps down like this, which I figured out after the fact. And then you just go like this. And then the better you get at it, like anything else, the quicker you are. So I'll start out like this. You're not supposed to do this, but I do it just to get the initial ones off. And then once I get a little bit lower, obviously you don't want to slice your finger off. So you're going to use this piece right here. And then you're just going to go up and down. So pretty basic, up and down. You'll have the little piece that comes off, throw that bad boy in there. And then on to the next apple. And again, you can take your time, but it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. You just cut off this chunk here. Boom. Put the first piece in there. Again, go like this. And then you're good to go. And then same thing. Again, safety-wise, don't do what I'm doing. You probably should have that thing, but it's hard to do it when it first starts out because the apple's so big. So I do it like this, and then when I get halfway, you know, don't want to drop your fingers because this thing will cut you, guaranteed. And then go like this. And I'm curious to see these because normally I use honey crisp apples, which these are, but these are from that, like I said, that Amish market. So I'm curious to see like if they're going to be better or the same. I normally, you know, I'm not like picky. I normally get apples from anywhere. So it could be, you know, Aldi's, Walmart, Giant, you know, wherever you can get them from, just go there. Or wherever they're on sale. I do know that, like, I asked the girl that was working there, and I asked her because they had these things called Evercrisp apples, and I didn't even know what an Evercrisp apple was. And I guess it's like it's a mix between a Honeycrisp and a Fuji, or I don't know, some kind of different apples. It's a mixture or something like that. And I asked her, I go, which ones, you know, what's the difference? And she goes, oh, the Honeycrisp is sweeter. So you want to probably go with the Honeycrisp, although you don't have to. Look at this piece flying over there. We'll have to get that later. But you want to go with the Honeycrisp because then actually if you want that little bit of sweetness taste, which is what it is, then you'll have that in your chips. And then depending on your preference, I love cinnamon. Like I really like cinnamon. And you saw it, I put it up in the other episode I did on my sweet potatoes. And I also do on my apples. So you're going to see, again, it's a preference. You know, some people don't like it like at all. I love cinnamon, so I'm going to cake them in cinnamon. I'm going to put so much cinnamon on them. They're going to be delicious. And then the other thing you can do with apples, which I started doing also, and maybe I'll do that in another video, that's really easy. You can core them out. So I've done this before. You core them out, and then you put a little apple cider vinegar in there, and then you put some cinnamon in there, and you let them cook. And it's like eating a little mini pie. It does take a while for them to cook up, but I was doing that for a while. I was getting a little pan and putting water in there and doing it that way. But again, this can give you that same thing of chips, and then you can bag them up. Sometimes I know people that like them and I'll give them away because they're just so good. And obviously I'm not going to eat all of them, but I could, because I do like to, it's getting a little harder because the bowl's getting filled up, and I'll show you in a second. And this is what can happen. You can see you'll get this big chunk like this, and that happens, and I'll throw a couple of those like that, and that's fine. And if you try to cut them and you don't have a mandolin slicer, whatever this thing's called, if you don't have one of these bad boys, what's going to happen is you're going to have different sizes, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. It will work. But when you're done, you know, we basically have a bowl with 4 apples. Again, you could eat normal apples if you like, but I like chips, and I like to be able to have like snack food because I tend to, you know, I occasionally like to snack whether I'm watching a movie or doing something else. You know, I like to have that snack feeling, you know, like that chip feeling. So this is a good way to do it, you know, where you don't have to really worry about it. And the great thing about this is you could eat this will probably make 4 bags, maybe 3 if you fill them up high. And the great thing about this is you could eat all of them. And you know what? It ain't gonna make a difference. It really won't matter. It's not gonna hurt you because it's all natural food, all sugar. So that doesn't have all the junk in it. So then now what we need to do is we need to get our pans. So these pans we had because, you know, my kids and wife, they make cookies and all that. But these are Nordic Wave. I got them on sale. So I got a bunch of these on sale. But you could use any pans you want to use. And I'm just gonna line them up like this, and I'm guessing I'm gonna have 4 pans. I'm thinking I'm gonna have 4, give or take. But we'll find out, who knows. And then the next thing you wanna do, which there's a funny story behind this, because the first time I did this, I actually used, I don't know if it was like, it wasn't parchment paper, but it was a different kind of paper, and I tried it, and they got stuck to the pans. You can see on this one, they got completely stuck. It was a mess. So I learned, you know, again, you got to get these like parchment paper sheets that you can bake on. You need these, and I buy these ones just because they're convenient. You just pull them out. They're not too much, but I think you can get the rolls or something. And when you get the rolls, those are better. I'm gonna burn up a couple sheets. That's okay. So I'm gonna take 2 more out. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut these in half. So we're gonna take these sheets right here, and then, and again, like I said, this is just sort of process I do. There's probably a better way to do it, but I'd go like this, and I take this little sheet right here, and I go like that. That way I can line them up. Because again, if you have bigger apples, they're gonna fill up the pans more. The other thing you can do, which I know people recommend, is you can core the apples so you can take the seeds out. I'll pull the seeds out as I go along, but I don't like normally take the time to pull them out, because I've found that when they cook, I think they naturally fall out. Because when they cook, you'll see them, they'll start to crisp up, and they'll do like this, you know, it's almost like they curl. So that's what happened. And then right here goes these are gonna be your chips. So you're gonna place them out, you're gonna look at them, make sure that obviously you don't have the seeds in them, because you don't want, you know, the seeds, obviously, unless you like that. Who knows, some people might. But you're gonna put these, basically just line them up. Again, this is so easy. It's just a little bit time consuming, but if you do this, you know, when you could do your laundry or something else and do this while you're waiting, and you'll have them ready, and it's delicious and healthy. So again, I'm just gonna line these up. Nothing fancy about this, nothing special. Sometimes I will go through, and like right here, you can see there's a big chunk of a seed. So throw that out, obviously you don't want that. But it should fall out anyways when you cook them. And then I'll put these down. And then it depends. I try to rearrange them like so that they're in a specific, like, you know, so they fit best. It's almost like playing, you know, Tetris. It's like playing Tetris with apples, you know. But you never know what's going to happen. So I have had it where, like, you know, you start out like this, and then next thing you know, you need another tray or whatever. And that's okay. It doesn't matter. But you're just going to arrange them like little Tetrises the best you can. And then after that, we're going to put our cinnamon on. If you don't like cinnamon, you don't have to put that on. I'm sure there's some other stuff you could put on, so it's just whatever your preference is. That one has a big seed chunk in it, so we're going to pull that out because you don't want that. And then we're going to keep rolling here. And again, it's not a super time consuming thing. It's more the baking process. And then, you know, that's something where, like, anytime, I guess, like you're baking, again, I'm not a chef, but, you know, you could just set a timer on your phone. That's what I do. Set the timer on your phone. And then when you set that timer, you're going to essentially set it at, you know, 2.5 hours, give or take. And what I used to do is originally I would just set it and I'd leave them in there. And they turn out okay. So if you do that, you just want to leave them in there and not worry about it, you can also do that. I think, and again, I don't know if it works 100%, but I believe it works better when you turn the trays. But it's all preference. I will say get these little seeds right here because they'll get stuck in there. And again, that will probably fall out, but it takes like 2 seconds. And I have my knife there, so if I need to, I'll just pull them out. And we're almost filled up here, so I almost got 3 trays. The thing is like 4 apples, essentially, like I said, it seems like a lot, but it will make about maybe 3-4 bags, give or take, depending on how much you put in a bag. And if you have the big pieces, you can either throw these away or just leave them. I'll leave these big chunks right here, and they'll be like a little bit soft, and those are good because what you can do is I'll eat those before I even put in the bag. I'll just pull them right off the tray, and they're good. And then we're getting close here. So we're getting close to filled up, and the bowl's almost empty, so that's a good thing. And then we're gonna be on to my favorite part, which is adding the cinnamon. I don't know why I like doing it, but I do. And then again, get the seed as you go. Look at the backs of them. Look at the fronts and backs of them. Make sure you don't have seeds because they'll pop off. And where are we at here? And the oven's, okay, we're on 225 in the oven. So the oven is ready to rock. We're ready to go once it starts. And we'll do that, we'll do that. I'm gonna flip this around just to make it easier for me. Put one there, one there. And then you're gonna have all different shapes and sizes. So just put them wherever they fit. Again, it's like playing Tetris. You just gotta fit them in where they go. And then when you're done, you can, you know, if you don't wanna use a certain piece, or if you have one that's not as flat, or it's a different chunk size or whatever, you can either choose to throw it away, keep it, however you want to do it. Like this chunk right here, this will be an awesome piece though, because it'll be nice and soft. And it's not going to cook up like a chip, but you can eat that. That'll be good. Because that's like the ends. And you can fit them however you want. So we're close to being filled up. I got a couple extra pieces. Again, it's how you want to arrange them. And if you want to get every last bite, you know, if you're pinching pennies, and that's okay, you can obviously go and fill each spot in so that you get the maximum amount of your apples. So we'll do that. We'll put that one there. And I have a couple in here that are left, but I'm just going to get rid of them because that's more than I need, and I don't want to take too much time. Do that. Done with that. Again, I'm just going to do this right here with some dishwasher. Again, it's a preference, but I find if you clean up as you go, it's easier and it makes life better. Because guess what? When you're done, you're done. So now we are good to go with those. And you can see it really didn't take us that long. I'm going to wash my hands because obviously you're going to have the apple on them. Your hands are going to be sticky. So you're going to want to do that. You're going to want to wash your hands ahead of time, like me. I obviously went to the bathroom, so I already washed my hands. They're super clean, so we're good to go. But obviously, you know, if you're giving these away to people, you want to make sure your hands are clean when you're doing it. And then the last step is the cinnamon. So again, I just get this as Target Good and Gather, but I don't know, any cinnamon will work. And I just coat this on. So I just sprinkle it like this. And I like a lot of cinnamon, so I make sure it's like covered in cinnamon. But again, that's just a preference. It's whatever you like. You could just do the apples. You could put some other topping or something on them if you want to do that. It's whatever you prefer. So again, just sprinkle them on. I'm going to coat them. We're going to coat these because I like the cinnamon. Cinnamon's delicious. And again, just as you can see, it's pretty basic. You're just doing flaking. If you don't like cinnamon as much, don't put as much on, but I'm just going to flake. And then I go a little crazy. I turn them like this. And I go like that, and like that, and we're done. Cinnamon done. And the thing, and then we're open up the oven. The oven's ready to go. And you're gonna take your 2 trays and you're gonna put them in like this. The trays don't actually even fit in the oven, so you have to go like this and stack them. Which again, super easy. You're just gonna stack them. And then what you're gonna do is you're going to set your timer. Obviously, you're gonna want to use your pot holders so you don't burn your fingers and put them out. But pretty basic, you're gonna put those in the oven. And then once those are in the oven, it's gonna go for an hour and a half. I set one timer an hour and a half or an hour you could do. And that's when you flip the trays. I flip both sides, top and bottom. And then your next timer, which is that 2 hour and a half mark, that's where you're gonna pull them out. And you could check them. You could look in there and you could pull them up, and you'll see when you pull them up, you can tell, like, are they still soggy and soft or are they crispy? Now, if you go too far, and I've done that before, because when I first did it, I didn't time it, or I'd be like, it's about an hour or something, because I wasn't doing it like you're supposed to. And then you know what happens? They turn like super crunchy. And I still ate them. They're good, but they're obviously a little bit more crunchy than I like. And if you like them softer, you can let them go a little bit less and they'll be soft. So that's pretty much how you do it. Obviously, we got 2.5 hours. So we're gonna wait on that. I'm gonna cut this video off right now. And then when we come back, I'll do another video. But again, this is a great healthy snack. It's very easy. You could saw it. You don't need much. You need the mandolin, which costs a little bit of money. If not, you can use a knife and cut them. But I do say that thing is awesome because it keeps those slices a uniform length, which makes it, when it bakes, it's easier to make that crunchiness. If you don't care, do it with just a knife. That's how I started. I actually did it with a knife, and I think that I put that on like a birthday or Christmas list, and I got that as a gift. So when I got it, it was sweet, and it works better. But you can do, if you don't have it, that's okay. You don't need it. You can do it the other way. Again, I'm gonna show this video later on, but again, the most important thing about this channel is that it is to glorify God. And I'm showing you different things that he showed me with weight loss and different things I found out that have helped me. This is a good one because they taste great, and you could eat 4 bags of them, and it doesn't even, it's not gonna hurt you. It's good for you because it's fruits and vegetables. You can eat pretty much as much as you want. So again, if you're not saved, if you're not sure, go to the description, go to the more link, do the salvation prayer. It is the best thing you can ever do in your life. I promise you, there's nothing better than it. There is nothing like it. God bless you, and I'll see you later. Glory be to God, Mighty God Ministries, episode 3. We're just finishing up the apple chips. Obviously, they had to cook, so I'm not going to make you wait, but it's about 2.5 hours, give or take. These ones are a little bit shorter, but then once you're done, you get a healthy snacks, and then you can see them on the trays. They'll be like this. They're crisp and delicious, and each tray will fill up 1 bag, give or take. And you can eat them whenever you want, just like chips. Throw them in there. Again, it's up to you whether you want to put cinnamon on them more or less. And the other great thing about these is it's literally eating like an apple, but you get the effect of the chips. So the great thing is that these are low calorie. You could eat, 4 bags of these, and it's really not even going to make a difference because it's pure apples, that are healthy for you. So that's a good thing. And then you can see right there, that's 1 bag. And again, you could eat 4 bags of these, unlike regular chips, which are going to be really bad for you. If you eat a whole bag, you're going to be at 1,000 calories. You eat 4 of these, you might be at like 375, not even. And then one of them is going to be like 90 calories right here, and they taste delicious. So again, just another healthy snack you can eat to replace the chips. If you like chips, that's okay. You can still eat chips, but it's another healthy snack that you can use to replace certain things and get a little bit healthier, and then eat a little bit more if you like to do that. But again, the channel is to glorify God. So if you're not saved or you have any questions about it, read the description below, read the salvation prayer, get saved. It is the best thing you will do in your life. I promise you, there is nothing like it. You will find nothing on earth that will fill the things in your heart like that. God is the only one that can fill it. You can't find it in any other things. God bless you, and see you in the next one.